Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, Ranking Member. Thank you, and welcome, Attorney General Bondi. I, I, I just wonder, sincerely wonder, do you hear how hollow your last words sound in light of the pardon of all of the January 6th people, day one of this administration? I believe you're sincere. You want to protect law enforcement, but your principal, the president, pardoned every single one on January 6th.
Dean accused her of standing as a defender of law enforcement, speaking with passion about protecting police officers, yet supporting a president who had, with the stroke of a pen, pardoned every single individual involved in the January 6th assault on the Capitol. That clash of principle versus practice was where Dean drove her point home, exposing what she painted as glaring hypocrisy. For Dean, it wasn't just about rhetoric, it was about reality. She reminded everyone that 5 Capitol police officers had lost their lives in the aftermath of that attack, men and women who had put their bodies on the line to defend democracy. To her, Bondi's words rang hollow, empty promises standing in the shadow of those blanket pardons. The way Dean framed her argument was designed to capture not only the attention of the committee, but of every American watching. She painted a picture of officers being spit on, beaten, and trampled, only to see their attackers walk free with presidential absolution.
I am never going to talk about conversations, advice in any way.
Were you asked
I'm
for
never
advice?
going to talk about discussions I've had
Because
or have not had.
You'll
But I
remember.
can answer with the President of the United
Yes or no?
States.
Did you give him any advice? Yes or no?
I am not going to discuss any conversations
That's a
that
no.
I have had with it.
And
you just put
your
words in
own
my
word,
mouth. I am not going to
No,
discuss.
I'm going to reveal your own words.
I am
Just a
not
moment.
going to
Please stop.
discuss
Please stop. This
conversations
is my
that
time.
I've had with the President of the United States.
Attorney
You asked
General,
me a question.
I would like to reclaim
and
the
you
last
asked
20
me to
seconds.
answer.
I have asked to reclaim my time. Please put 20 seconds back on the clock.
You have an extra 30.
If the general,
She answered and then answered it again and answered it again with a non-answer. I ask for your consideration
if the
of
general
putting time
lady
on.
will let the witness answer the questions, we will.
She answered it by saying no. Okay. The 3 hallmarks of this administration are incompetence, corruption, and cruelty. I'm going to focus today on corruption. And in my mind, there are 2 types of corruption: personal, and then the other I'm going to call public, governmental. Attorney General, have you ever been registered as an agent of a foreign principal under the Foreign Agents Registration Act?
Madeleine Dean wasn't just challenging her on policy and more, she was striking at her personal credibility. With a sharp tone, Dean asked whether Bondi had ever been registered as an agent of a foreign principal under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The question itself carried weight, but what made it even more powerful was the way Dean framed it. Like a prosecutor cornering a witness, Bondi admitted she had represented Qatar for a short period, claiming her work was focused on anti-human trafficking efforts tied to the World Cup. But Dean wasn't satisfied with explanations or context. She cut through Bondi's attempt to soften the issue, pushing for direct answers, stripping away the layers of nuance until only a yes or no remained. Bondi tried to defend herself by insisting that the matter had been discussed during her hearings, but Dean wasn't letting go. She pointed out that while it may have been mentioned, the conflict of interest itself was never fully brought to light. That subtle distinction turned into a sharp weapon. Dean painted a picture of omission, of selective disclosure, which to her audience suggested deliberate concealment. The courtroom-like energy of the exchange kept everyone locked in, waiting to see if Bondi would crack under the pressure.
I assume you're talking about when I represented the country of Qatar for a very short time.
The answer is yes. No, excuse me. No.
For anti-human trafficking for the World Cup. Anti-human trafficking
yes or
for the
no?
World Cup.
Attorney
you can't
General,
put words in my mouth.
No.
You want to talk about incompetence? You're the one that
Excuse
said
me.
Joe Biden on PBS was competent. You had to retract those words.
Mr.
So don't
Chairman,
talk to me. Don't insult me publicly.
this is so discourteous. This is so outside the committee's guidelines. Taking a personal shot at me while swiping at Biden? Very strange and very unprofessional of you. The answer is yes or no, and the answer is yes. You were registered as a lobbyist for Qatar. Is that correct? Yes. Never mind. Don't answer. Did you disclose that when you went before for the Senate for confirmation? Yes or no? No, it was not in your documents. The answer is no. President Trump.
This was discussed at my confirmation hearings in detail.
It was discussed, but you failed to bring up the conflict that you had. President Trump recently announced he'd accept that $400 million Qatar airplane because it was just prettier than the one he was flying around in. Is it true that you gave advice that this was legally permissible? Yes or no?
A former attorney general with a known history of lobbying for Qatar, a president openly boasting about choosing a foreign luxury plane because it was prettier, and the possibility that behind the scenes, Bondi had been the one whispering in his ear that it was all legally fine. It was the kind of narrative that didn't need a confirmed answer to raise eyebrows. It only needed the silence to speak volumes. Dean mocked Trump's reasoning, repeating his own words that the jet was simply more attractive, a detail meant to underscore the absurdity of the situation. Here was the President of the United States making decisions not out of necessity or national interest, but out of vanity. And here was his Attorney General, unwilling to clear the air on whether she had sanctioned the move. Dean's sharp commentary turned what might have been dismissed as political theater into a spectacle of accountability. It wasn't just about a plane. It was about influence, transparency, and the possibility of decisions at the highest level being driven by personal indulgence.
I will not discuss any advice that my Office of Legal Counsel gives to the President of the United States on any matter.
When you spoke before the Senate, you said you would ask for ethical advice. Did you recuse yourself from that issue?
And talking about unprofessional, you say the President wanted a jet because it's pretty?
Excuse me.
This is a Senate. This is a
He said it
congressional
himself.
hearing.
He said it himself.